Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It is I, as always, your host, Mr. Sean, here with a bit of a different video for you today. Rather than diving into another Reddit subforum or having some kind of top 10 list, today is going to just be me riffing, ranting, rambling, what have you, on a topic that I think people could stand to know a little more about, and, people could probably use a positive perspective on. This is just going to be very chill, very relaxed. I am drinking while I'm recording this, so, we'll see where that takes us. Now, I know normally before we get into the video, I tell you about my miniatures business, and I'm not going to do that today. If you really want to help me, and you want to help this channel because you enjoy the kind of videos I put out, here's what you can do. Help get this video out to people, help get this channel out to people. At the time of recording this, I currently only have 33 subscribers. My birthday is coming up at the end of this month, and if by the end of March you guys could help me get to 50 subscribers, that would be amazing. I've only been making these videos regularly for about a year, and I have yet to really find my voice, find my audience, but, the more people I can get to watch the videos, the more I can hone my craft, the more I can figure out what people want to hear me read, and, we'll go from there. I know the goal is in a short period of time, but we only need 17 more people to subscribe to get to that goal, and I would really appreciate it. I hope to be at 100 followers by the end of the year, but we'll see. And with that out of the way, let's talk about how to be a wizard. So for those of you who are now thinking like, hey, I'm going to learn how to Wingardium Leviosa because I love Harry Potter, Hogwarts Legacy is the best game of all time, yeah, you're going to be a little disappointed by this video. That's not the type of wizard that I'm talking about. Whiskey's already kicking in, I see. No, so what I'm talking about is the internet urban legend that if you go 30 years maintaining your virginity, you gain supernatural wizard powers. This myth was purported to have been started on a defunct Japanese free voting generating service known as Automatic Inket Generator. Not really sure what that is or what that means, but apparently the phrase 30-year-old male virgin becomes wizard became a popular phrase. So there's this whole thing that if you are someone who just can't seem to lose your V card till the age of 30, the universe rewards you with magic powers. So why am I making a video about this? Well, if you have seen my channel before, you might know that I have jokingly referred to myself as a wizard before, and that's what I mean. I was 30. I was almost 31, but just shy of it before I managed to lose my V card. I never identified as an incel because, in fact, I had never even heard that term till after my penis had tasted that sweet, sweet pussy, but yeah, there we are. I wasn't saving my virginity for any reason. I really just had terrible luck with women. I actually had never even heard about the 30-year-old virgin wizard trope till after losing my V card, but did I get magic powers? Well, that's debatable. That's not to say that I don't believe in magic or even magic powers, but why I can't definitively answer that question is I already had magic powers before I lost my proverbial V card. Now, before you label me as some kind of crackpot, hear me out. I'm not claiming to have the ability to cast spells or hexes or curses, but it has been well known within my family for generations that we do have an kind of inherent power. Or should I say, one person of each generation inherits that power. I don't know how far back it goes, but I know my grandfather had it, my mother has it, and I have it. And I also know that nobody else in any of the other generations has that same power. And our power is not one we can control. Like, we can't necessarily focus it, but it is there. And that power is luck manipulation. Personally, I like to refer to it as the way Marvel Comics refers to a power of similar nature, whiskey, is known as probability control, which is that fortune manipulates in your favor. It's not so much something that, like in the comics, the Scarlet Witch can actively, target this. We don't have that ability, but it does kind of emanate from us. And it manifests a different way in each of my family members that have it. For my grandfather, it manifested in his leisure activities. He enjoyed board games, and he enjoyed fishing. In a game that was, mostly luck, not even skill, he would win every time. You couldn't beat him at a game of war, which is entirely luck. Not to say he wasn't a skilled game player, but in a game that was 50% luck, 50% skill, it really didn't matter how much skill you had. Luck was going to be on his side. For my mother, it mostly manifested in her ability to randomly win raffles. In the time that I have been around, I have seen my mother randomly win money, laptops, golf clubs, grill sets, televisions. She even won a American Girl doll because her entry was the only one that got stuck to the cardboard box where people dropped their raffle tickets. So when they dumped it out, there was one left in the box, and it just so happened to be my mother's. Another very interesting way her luck manifested is she ended up with diverticulitis, which if you don't know, it's kind of a thing that ends up with polyps in your colon that tiny things like seeds or popcorn kernels can get stuck in and fester and rot, and you can't have, so you have to avoid those things or it gets really, really bad. How is that lucky, you say? Well, it's not. But what's lucky is that when she had her knee replacement surgery, there was a complication, and it caused a buildup of pressure that caused her colon to rupture. Again, you're probably saying, how the hell is that lucky? Well, they had to remove a small part of her colon, and it just so happened to be the part that the diverticulitis was in, meaning that her serious surgical complication led to her being able to eat popcorn again, which is her favorite snack, which she could not eat due to the diverticulitis. Most people who have a serious surgical complication don't have that being the lasting result. Their lives are forever changed and for the worst. Her lasting result is she can eat popcorn again. So now we get to me. And mine is more abstract. It's not nearly as focused as my grandfather or my mother. My powers manifest in a way of just complete and utter serendipity, which, if you don't know that word, it is the occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy or beneficial way. Now, when I was younger, this manifested in a very low-stakes way. I originally noticed it with the Star Wars card game, is that I could buy one pack of cards and get a really high-value card in it. Later on, it would manifest itself in a different card game, which you may know a little better, the Pokemon card game. Now, a little backstory on me is I did grow up somewhat privileged. In an upper-middle-class family, I was sent to private school, not because we were high society, but because I had several learning disabilities. I had ADHD at a time that was not fully understood. There weren't as many effective treatments for it as there are today, and my parents thought that going to a private school would be beneficial to me. It really wasn't, but that's not the point of this video. So, this elementary school that I went to in private school, because I switched to public in middle, but one of the things at this school that was very prevalent was there were a lot of kids from divorced families. And a thing that I noticed quite a bit was that these divorced parents would try to buy their children's love. So, my friend Tony would go away for the weekend to go visit his dad over in Mount Vernon, and he'd come back with a case of Pokemon cards. Because, Dad wants Tony to like him. Meanwhile, I had to spend my own money, which was a very small allowance that I got for doing chores, and there was actually like a job chart to determine how much money I made in a week on a single pack of Pokemons, just like I didn't get 2 Christmases because my parents loved each other. I'm joking, of course. I would much rather have a happy, cohesive family than 2 Christmases, but here's where we notice this power manifest. So like I said, these kids would their parents would get them an entire case of Pokemon cards, the full box full of packs, and they'd open them all up, and there were 2 cards nobody could get a hold of. One being the now super valuable Charizard. The second one being Nidoking. So, since I didn't have parents trying to buy my love, in fact, I had parents just trying to, make me normal, as I told my dad once, I'm like, wow, your guys' marriage lasted, even through my terrible behavior. He told me, well, yeah, we needed a united front to defeat you. But so yeah, I had a small allowance, and it was like, okay, if you do all your chores, you get a certain amount per day. If there's certain chores you don't do, you don't get money for doing them. And if there was, I forget what it was, but there was one chore that if I didn't do it, I didn't get any money that day. So we're talking my allowance was maybe like $5 a week if I did everything. But little me gets my allowance, goes to the card shop, can only afford 2 packs of Pokemon cards, and I open them up. Pack 1, Nidoking. Pack 2, Charizard. If I had kept that Charizard card, I'd be sitting on Easy Street right now, but I remember selling it to a friend for like $100 back in the day when I was still in like 5th grade. My parents didn't believe me when I said that that's how I'd gotten randomly $100, but they called my friend's parents and were like, hey, so our kid has a $100 bill and he says he sold it. He got it from your kid by selling a piece of cardboard. And their parent was like, well, yeah, Junior wanted the Charizard card and we really wanted him to have it, so we gave him the $100 to give to your son. And my dad's like, well, your friend's parents are dumb, but enjoy your $100, I guess. I mean, I got, essentially, for a 5th grader, a king's ransom for that Charizard and that Nidoking because it's what nobody had in my entire school. And that's kind of a long and exaggerated way to say that I could get cool stuff from blind packs of things. This kept happening. I didn't buy blind boxes for a while, but then when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I got into HeroClix. And I remember there was a set called Giant Size X-Men, and the interesting thing about this set is that they started making it as the company Topps, who you might know from the baseball cards, who also owned HeroClix at the time, decided they didn't want to make HeroClix anymore. So they tried to sell it off, and they essentially put the game on hiatus for an entire year while they tried to sell it off, and eventually they did, but they shut down production on these minis, so it was a very small release of this really cool set at the time. Like, we were all super excited about it. But eventually, NECA, N-E-C-A, however you pronounce it, bought the game, and then they took ownership and released the HeroClix set that had, at that point, just been sitting. As the game had just come back, everybody was just rabid to get these packs, so it was really hard to get them because only about half of a normal production run had been made. So this set, I was only ever able to buy 2 packs. And one of the things in this set that was so amazing was we finally got a Magneto that felt like Magneto in the comics. I mean, this guy could throw objects with additional damage. He was hard to hit from range. This was the master of magnetism that we had been waiting for in the game the entire time. So I show up at what is known as a blind tournament. What that is in HeroClix is you buy 2 packs of HeroClix and you open them up, and whatever's in there, you have to make a 300-point team out of. So I get my first pack, and I open it up, and inside is a Wolverine as the Horseman of Death that is worth about $20. At the time, HeroClix were only about $10 a pack, so already I have recouped the cost of these packs. The second pack I open, there is Magneto. Now you're probably thinking, oh, it's a coincidence, probably someone else opened a Magneto during that tournament. No. Out of everyone at that tournament, including the people who had pre-ordered an entire brick or case, which is 10 or 20 packs of HeroClix of that set, so they got them, this was the entirety of, like, the store went out of, they used their entire stock for the people that had either pre-ordered or the people at this tournament. Out of all the packs opened, not a single other person opened Magneto. Now, at the time, this Magneto was so sought after, he was going for over $100. He was worth more than any other figure in that set, including the prize figures. Nobody opened him. I made my team, sat down, and the guy looking at me goes, oh, so even if you lose, you win. One guy jokingly told me he'd give me his firstborn son in exchange for that Magneto figure, and I looked at him and said, I've met your firstborn son, who was actually at the tournament. I'm getting the raw end of that deal. So yeah, needless to say, my luck manifested for years simply as being able to pull cool stuff from blind boxes. Small side note tangent, there was actually a guy who, two of my friends actually took me to a card shop and bought packs of Magic the Gathering. They had me pick the packs, and then after they'd paid for them, one of my friends rubbed his packs all over my body, physically, without telling me he was going to do this. they were basically testing my ability for my luck to rub off on other people. So they opened their packs that I'd picked out all the packs for them, and the guy that had then gone the extra step to violate me by rubbing Magic the Gathering packs all over my body, he pulled cards in his packs that were worth more than all the other cards in the other guy's packs combined. And apparently the guy that had just had me pick out his packs pulled some pretty great cards. So while you may be skeptical, at least in my own group of friends, the fact that I have magic luck powers is scientifically proven. So I just realized that this entire brief introduction has taken over 15 minutes, and I don't like my videos to be over 30 minutes, so, that tangent took a while, and this will probably be a multi-part video, but, as Ron White once said, I told you that story to tell you this story. So, I've had magic powers my whole life. The question, I guess, is, did they get stronger once I hit the age of 30 and was still a virgin? Sure. They've helped me in ways that are more important than just pulling a good card in Pokemon, or a good figure in HeroClix, or a good D&D mini, even. This will probably end up being a multi-part video, as I don't like my videos to go beyond 30 minutes, and if you're still listening, I thank you, and, share the channel. So, yeah, even though I have always had magical powers, they definitely got stronger when I was 30. Even the way I lost my virginity was just a total fling of luck, and that I found someone that shares my interests, that is just as much of a pervert as I am, and we are very happy together. And it was kind of by sheer luck that I got with her. So yes, in my opinion, you can gain magical powers by not having sex until the age of 30. So here's where we get into the meat of this video. I know, over 15 minutes in, sorry. But you don't need to focus your entire life on the quest of getting laid. No, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that sex isn't awesome. It's amazing, and I love it, and I want to have a lot more of it, and, it's definitely something that I feel that, yes, I did miss out on in my 20s and teens, but that's not the point. In that time, I never identified as an incel, especially because I literally had not heard that term until after I was 30. But even not knowing the term of involuntary celibate, I never focused my life on the pursuit of sticking my dick in a vagina. I just tried to live my life and assume that it would happen when it happened. Now, I won't say that it was never on my mind. In fact, every year when I blew out my birthday candles, it was that year would be the year I'd finally get laid. But I also, while it was something I definitely wanted, it did not consume my entire being. And that is the point of what will, I guess, be a series of videos about how to help anyone who might be suffering from what I suffered from to live their best life in a way that will one day eventually mean that, yeah, you'll have sex. You'll get to enjoy that. But in the meantime, don't focus on it. This series of videos is going to be how to enjoy your journey to becoming a wizard. So let's start here at the almost 19-minute mark with number 1. Number 1 on your path to becoming a wizard is the most important rule, and it's called live your life. What is the difference between a wizard in training and an incel? Well, an incel is going to spend 100% of their waking time thinking about how they could possibly get laid. It consumes them. It is their entire being, their entire personality is, I want to stick my dick into a vagina. And it shows. Meanwhile, someone who is embracing their journey to wizardry is just going to live their life. And a potential wizard accepts the fact that they might, in living their life, they might meet somebody. They might end up losing their V-card before the age of 30, and that's also fine. Not everyone should be a wizard. But it's the if it happens, it happens mentality that separates you from the incels. Now, when I was still a virgin, I had technically it was a plan to eventually become not a virgin. But ultimately, my philosophy on life was, I'm going to live my life. I'm going to do what I want to do, and in doing so, will meet people that are compatible with me. And by meeting those people and befriending them and being introduced to their wider circle of friends, because yes, making friends was something that's always been very important to me. The wider my circle of friends grows, the bigger the chances that there will be someone within that group that I am compatible with romantically, and eventually, I'll get together with that person and we will fuck. So while technically losing my virginity was the penultimate goal, the real goal in all of it and the journey was just making friends, living my life, meeting people that I'm compatible with, so even if I don't end up having sex with any of them, I at least have a large circle of friends, was very important. Which I guess is technically my second point, which is that the friend zone doesn't exist. Nice guys and incels love to talk about the friend zone, where it's like, oh, I do everything for this person and they just see me as a friend. And in my viewpoint, the friend zone, one, it technically doesn't exist, but even if you want to split hairs and say that it does, it's not a bad thing, because you can never have too many friends. Just because someone you're attracted to doesn't want to fuck you doesn't mean they don't have people in their life that you will also be attracted to, and who knows, they may want to. The more compatible people you meet, the more compatible people you befriend, the wider your circle grows, and the more chances you have of meeting someone that is ultimately both romantically, mentally, physically, sexually compatible with you. Some people may say this is like playing the long game, but ultimately it's like the more people you know, the more friends you have, the more likely you are to meet someone who is attracted to you. But you can't go into it going, someone here is going to fuck me. You have to go into it with the idea of, these are people that I want to associate with. And just in some cases, that association will be sticking your dick inside of them. Or vice versa. So yeah, I guess we're gonna end today's video with number 3, because we are fastly approaching that 30-minute mark, which I do not like to go over. So yeah, number 3, so to speak, is find hobbies. I, myself, have always loved games, whether it was Star Wars card game, Pokemon the card game. Later in my life, it was HeroClix. I played HeroClix for years, up until a massive falling out with a friend who I more or less associated playing HeroClix with, took that from me. Yeah, I played HeroClix for a long time. I was a tournament judge and all that. After that, I transitioned into board games such as Zombicide and things like that, eventually going to Dungeons and Dragons. Which, between that and HeroClix, got me into miniature painting. Yeah, no, I have a lot of hobbies. Hobbies are great. It's what makes you somewhat interesting as a person. I guess, oddly enough, what makes you interesting are your interests. When I was younger, I loved superheroes. Then, as I got into, middle school, high school, I kind of transitioned away from superheroes, because I thought that wasn't, super cool. People wouldn't really be into me liking that, and I got more into horror movies, which I still love, don't get me wrong. But when I became an adult, this is early college years, my late teens, early 20s, I got super into superheroes again, because I realized people aren't going to judge you for liking stuff. Whatever you are into, there's someone that is going to like that as well. No one is alone. I had a friend who, this is his strategy that he told me towards meeting someone and getting laid, is that he was going to pretend to be this girl's perfect guy. He was going to be into everything she was into. He was going to have all the same opinions as her. And by the time she realized he was full of shit, she would be too in love with him to say, see you later. Now, yes, this guy technically did use that method to get laid before I did, but his relationships didn't work out for the most part. However, he had told me earlier in our years and years of friendship, and in fact, we were practically brothers, was that he had no real sense of self. So whatever person he wanted to spend time with, whether that was to make a friend or to be with someone romantically, was he would adapt their kind of interests and he would try to be better at it than they were. So, when he and I befriended each other, he tried to become the best there was at HeroClix, and he kind of succeeded in a way, but still, it was one of those things where it's like, don't be like that guy. Have a sense of self. Be into what you're into, and that way, if you're open about that, if you're honest about that, whoever you meet is going to accept you for who you are. I absolutely love miniatures. It really doesn't matter the format, whether it's HeroClix, whether it's D&D. Like, the concept of miniatures has been a thing I have loved since back in my early days of childhood playing with Mighty Max, which, if any of you remember Mighty Max, it was just a boy's version of Polly Pocket. My fiance doesn't give two shits about miniatures, but she accepts the fact that I do. She herself loves Squishmallows. I don't care about Squishmallows, but I know they bring her happiness. So I guess the ultimate point of this technical entry, even though this isn't like a cohesive list, is that be yourself. Be honest about what makes you happy. And people who are willing to accept you for what brings you joy are the kind of people that you want in your life, even if they're not going to be the ones that you're going to be, blowing your load inside. You can never have too many friends, and a life that you have spent doing what you enjoy is a life well lived. So live your life, find hobbies, enjoy those hobbies, and that is what's going to attract other people to you. Because if your hobby, aka the thing that brings you joy in life, or vice versa, your ultimate goal is just to get laid, you're pretty fucking boring. Nobody in their right mind should ever list getting laid as one of their hobbies. Like, yeah, we all laugh at Quagmire on Family Guy, but ultimately, if that was the only purpose of your life was to get laid, and there was nothing else in the world that you enjoyed, that brought you joy, that you kind of filled your time with, and it was always just a quest to get laid, that's a pretty empty life. And this is coming from someone who is horny AF and is just like, yeah, I will bone down whenever my fiance wants to, but that's just no way to live if that's the only thing in your life. Because let's be honest, the amount of time in your life that you can honestly spend having sex is a pretty small, physically, it's a pretty small portion of your entire time on this earth. When people say you need to get a hobby, it's because, yes, hobbies are great. Hobbies are what fill our time in between work, the responsibilities of life, and those times we get to have sex. There is free time that you need to fill with something, whether that's video games, that's music, that's collecting, that's playing board games. That hobby isn't sex. Sex is a different category. So yes, we're going to end this part on part 3 of my drunken ramblings of have hobbies, enjoy your life, find a way to fill that time between when you're having sex, when you're at work, and when you just have time to fill. So yeah, this is going to be the end of part 1 of how to be a wizard, aka how I learned to stop worrying and start enjoying my wizardry. Part 1 of who knows how many. Thank you all for joining me today. As always, I am Mr. Sean. I hope you alpha a great day, and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Alpha great day, even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye. Whew, this whiskey's kicking my ass. Alpha great day, even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye.